There was a time where strength felt simple, wasn't there? You'd get a full night's sleep with no interruptions, wake up, do your warm-up, pick up a heavy barbell, and you could feel your muscles working, your breath sinking, your body rising to meet the challenge. But now, you're up before the sun, and not by choice. You're lifting more laundry than dumbbells, and your core, it can feel like a stranger you hardly recognize. I can see how you'd feel worn down, maybe even wonder, is it even worth trying to rebuild strength right now when I'm running on empty so often? You love your baby fiercely. You are so grateful for this season, but maybe there's a quiet grief you haven't said out loud yet, that your body doesn't feel like home anymore. And yet, deep in your bones, there's still a flicker of desire to feel capable again, to feel strong again, to feel grounded, resilient, whole. Today, I want to speak to that part of you, that part that still believes that strength is possible, even in the weariness, not by ignoring your limits, but by honoring the way God designed your body to heal. So let's dive in.
Postpartum is hard. One second we feel like our bodies are miraculous, and the next we feel like we're a complete mess, out of touch with the strong, confident women we used to be. All while the fitness industry pressures us to bounce back as quickly as possible to a body that never looked like it was pregnant to begin with. That's why, whether we're 3 days postpartum or 3 years postpartum, we need the refreshing truth of gospel-focused fitness to give us energy for the physical challenges of motherhood, peace with our postpartum bodies, and kingdom-centered motivation to train for strength and stamina. So mama, whether you're sipping on cold coffee or folding 5-day-old laundry, I pray by listening every Monday, you become equipped, encouraged, and empowered for a strong motherhood, all for God's glory. This is the Strong After Birth podcast. Thanks for joining us.
Welcome to the Strong After Birth podcast. I am your host, Laura Lindahl, and I'm so happy that you are here. And if you are here, that means, based on the title of this podcast, you are probably looking to build muscle. You're probably looking to get strong again, to feel maybe athletic, to feel like yourself again after having a baby. And if that's you, hi, hello. I love you because I get you, because that is me. And I often found myself asking myself this question, is it even possible to build muscle when I have such interrupted sleep? And the timing of this podcast, as with so many, is so perfect because we are in the middle of a 2-year sleep regression, and our once perfectly trained sleep infant is now resisting bedtime. Lord, we need you now more than ever. So if you're tired, like really tired, and wondering, is now even the right time to think about building muscle? My friend, you're not crazy. You're not lazy. You are living in a body that just did something miraculous and now is adjusting to a constant demand with very little rest. And maybe you've tried to exercise, but your core feels unstable. Maybe you've lost muscle and feel like a stranger in your own strength. I lost a lot of muscle in the postpartum season and felt it. Maybe like me, your nervous system felt shot, and lifting anything heavier than your toddler would just feel exhausting. And yet, there's still that tug. We want to feel strong. You want to feel capable, not for vanity or anyone else's timeline, but because strength for certain women like you and for like me and maybe you can feel like freedom. Freedom to play on the floor, to carry groceries and babies without pain, to walk into a room and not feel like you've left yourself behind. And that desire, I believe it is good. I believe it doesn't have to wait until the chaos settles, and I believe it can begin here, in the messy, in between, when you have little hours of sleep, when things aren't perfect. I believe you can still make progress, and that is why we are here today. Now, before we dive into strategies that are going to help you to build muscle even with interrupted sleep, I want to anchor this in truth. Isaiah 40 verse 29 says that he gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. Those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not faint. This isn't just poetic comfort by the prophet Isaiah. It is a gospel reality that can ground us in our day-to-day moments of weakness. God does not shame us in our weariness. He draws near to us. He doesn't wait for our energy to return to renew us. He is the source of our renewal. And the word renew here, it means to exchange strength, to make new again, to bring your burnt out, maxed out body to God and receive grace-fueled strength in return. I want to give you this analogy. Imagine a tree in winter. You see the bare branches, you see the dry, maybe cracked up soil that's probably covered by snow. It's cold, there's no fruit, but deep underneath the surface, the roots are reaching further than ever. They dig down deep to protect themselves from the cold so that when spring comes again, and you probably know where I'm coming with this, much fruit will be born on their branches. Listen, Mama, your strength isn't gone. It is being rerouted. Now, when it comes to building muscle, there is scientific backing that it depends on 3 primary factors. Stimulus, which is going to be our type of resistance training, which is a podcast in and of itself, but let's summarize that today as progressive resistance training is a stimulus that is required to build muscle. The second is nutrition. We need to have nutrition on board in order for us to build muscle. This is why, if you've been following me on Instagram, I just announced a new package that I'm rolling out as a beta program right now, and it includes nutrition coaching. It is one of my first that I've announced on Instagram that includes nutrition coaching because it is a vital aspect of building muscle. And then the third is going to be rest, which is sleep, and that is the topic for today. So when we're in postpartum, these 3 factors are going to be highly influenced, are they not? We might not have as much time margins for resistance training. It might be harder for us to meal plan or prep and to get the nutrition that we need. And then rest, sleep. Sleep is so interrupted, is often so shortened that our quality and quantity can both be affected postpartum. And the result of that is that our cortisol can be higher, our sleep is fragmented, and our body tends to carry heavy loads emotionally and physically, even if we never do a workout. But here's the mistake a lot of moms make. They jump back into what used to work for their nutrition, what used to work for their sleep, and what used to work for their training. They do high-intensity workouts, maybe long runs, group fitness, chasing the feeling of sweat and soreness. But listen, your postpartum body needs something different to build muscle. What built strength before can break you down now because healing requires a new strategy, one that is rooted in restoration, not depletion. I want you to imagine waking up and not dreading your reflection. You're not avoiding the mirror anymore. You're feeling really solid, not skinny or small, but strong and steady in your bones. I want you to imagine carrying your baby without bracing or your core in fear. I want you to imagine having enough energy at the end of the day to play with your kids after dinner, to be present for your spouse, to laugh, to tackle the dishes so they're not waiting for you in the morning. But more than that, I want you to imagine building strength without guilt. Even in a season where so many people tend to neglect their own health, I want you to imagine being the difference maker, to show other women around you what is possible when they take time to care for their body, to build strength, to break the chains of the mantra that motherhood has to be martyrdom. I want you to imagine a body that's no longer tied to performance, but to a purpose, to being an empowered mother who has taken time to build her own strength so she can pass it on to others. And that's exactly what we do inside True Strength Builder, my gospel-rooted postpartum training program. Each month, you get a progressive training plan that allows you to adapt your training to your lifestyle to continue to build strength 1 month after the other. We build that through progressive training as well as a monthly group coaching call that allows women to feel supported and educated in postpartum and busy mom strategies in our nutrition and training that can help us to break through plateaus and see consistent progress. It's not about bouncing back. It is about building body trust, core stability, and a vision of strength that honors your biology and our souls as believers. So that's enough about True Strength Builder. If you are interested, check out the show notes over there. There is a link to join and to book a discovery call if you would like to learn more. So let's talk about some action steps now. Maybe you're wondering, yes, Laura, I'd love to build muscle. I'd love to do it. How can I do it when I'm short on sleep? Well, first off, I need you to let go of this idea that your workouts have to be long and complicated to be effective. You need to start small and start gentle because it is consistency that builds muscle more than intensity done sporadically. This is the primary mistake I see women make in their training is lacking consistency and lacking progressive overload with that consistency. It is vital for us, if you are looking to build muscle, that you prioritize consistency over intensity. And when we let go of that mindset that it has to be this long, drawn out 7 or 8 exercise training session to build muscle, we can then be more consistent as moms and show up 20 to 25 minutes. Hello, True Strength Builder Express. You are 25 minutes long. We can show up, do the workouts, and feel good enough to do another one rather than feeling burnt out or exhausted. This is where strength begins, when we prioritize consistency over intensity. Next, I want you to train for your nervous system, not against it. In the middle of sleep regressions, disturbed sleep, maybe nighttime feedings, it's very common for us to feel wired and tired at the same time. Your sleep is broken, your adrenaline can be low, and your body can still be in constant high alert. And what this means is that high intensity workouts are going to spike cortisol and levels of adrenaline that may already be on a roller coaster ride. So instead of choosing higher intensity workouts, we want to choose workouts that are designed to be more progressive, starting at a foundational level and gradually building up intensity of lifting intensity or even set and rep intensity rather than high intensity jump around cardio. This type of training supports our nervous system, and research has shown that it leads to lower levels of cortisol, better parasympathetic recovery, and supports our HPA axis, which governs our stress, our mood, and our metabolism. I want you to imagine your nervous system right now in this postpartum season, whether you are 2 months postpartum or even 2 years postpartum. It's kind of like a snow globe. HIIT keeps shaking it up, but slow strength training lets the flakes settle so you can see clearly again. So this week, I want you to experiment with swapping one high stress session for a strength-based session. I want you to think about doing one primary lift. Yes, do not superset your exercises. Do one primary lift followed with maybe 1 to 2 other primary lifts. You might want to superset one of them for time, but go slow. Rest for 90 minutes or 90 seconds. Wow, 90 minutes. Who has that luxury? Rest for 90 seconds between your sets. Here, the key is that slow is strong. And by approaching a more slow approach to our training with longer rests, maybe slower tempos, we are training for our nervous system, not against it when it's already in a state of stress. Okay. Now, I did mention that one of the key factors to building muscle is rest. So we have to talk about sleep. You already know it's precious and you already know it's limited. But did you know that muscle repair happens primarily when we sleep? When your body doesn't get that, muscle growth stalls. So you can be training, you can even be eating sufficient calories and protein, but if you're not sleeping, your body doesn't have the time on the clock to build muscle. It's like we have a great job description, we have all of the tools readily available, but we're not letting them clock in to do the job. Poor sleep reduces muscle protein synthesis by up to 30%. Don't cry. I know it's a lot, which can make our cravings worse and it can ramp up our cortisol. But here's the hope. Even when sleep is interrupted, you can still improve its quality by filling 3 essential tanks during the day. This is a training that we go through in True Strength Builder. I'm going to give you guys a high-level overview here. There are 3 primary tanks that need to be full by the end of the day for our bodies to go into a deep level of sleep. Now, if we don't fill these tanks, then our brain is not going to go into that full resting and digesting state, regardless of how long we are asleep for. So, for the mama who is short on sleep, you're going to want to really dial in on filling up these 3 tanks during the day. And here they are. The first tank is movement. This means getting a walk in, getting some gentle, fun movement in the backyard, getting in your strength training. Movement is a requirement of our bodies, and it has its own natural God-given signals if it's not getting enough movement. If you go to bed at night and you feel like your body is restless, the chances are you haven't gotten enough of movement during your day. Now, I do want to take a moment here to pause because I think as moms, we can get a butt ton of movement during the day, none of which can be restorative. The movement that is not restorative, you probably already know. It's doing 1,000 tasks in the kitchen. It's racking up 4,000 steps by 9 a.m. by doing the laundry, picking up the toys, tidying the nursery, making the beds. It's doing all of that, but that movement isn't necessarily restorative for your nervous system. When I say that your body needs to fill its movement tank, I am talking about intentional or restorative movement. So think more intentional strength training. Think more intentional, slow, relaxing walks with your husband after dinner. That is a type of movement that's going to be beneficial for improving your sleep quality. Second is mental stimulation. I know it can be hard for us as moms to think about stimulating our brain when we already feel so overstimulated by the children, by the things that we have that we do absolutely love but can just be overstimulating at times. Yes, your dog can be one of those, and the hair that it constantly sheds. Just kidding, Tucker, we love you. But the stimulation that we already feel doesn't contribute to this special type of mental stimulation that's needed for better sleep. This is problem solving. This is reading a good book. This is having a good conversation. This type of mental stimulation provides our brain a stimulus for growth and for rest so that when we do go to sleep, it's not trying to solve the world's problems. If you're waking up in the middle of the night and your brain is just flooded with ideas and conversations, then you likely didn't get enough mental stimulation, particularly earlier in the day. That is the second tank to be filled, your mental stimulation. The third tank to be filled is meals. Now, meals are really important for moms because we cannot function on crumbs, and you 100% cannot build muscle on crumbs. If you are not consistently having 3 meals a day, and I mean coffee does not count as a meal, consider this your red flag, your wake-up call, whatever the topic is, whatever the term is now. You need to be eating 3 full meals a day. And by a meal, I mean something that you can sit down and be satisfied by, something that helps you to feel relaxed when you are done eating. We need to make sure that we are eating those full meals. If you don't have enough total caloric intake, I can't say this enough, if you don't have enough total caloric intake for your body's needs and above, you don't have enough supplies for your body to build muscle, even with a great training plan. You can have a blueprint for a house, you can have construction workers ready to build the house, but if you don't have supplies ready to lay down the foundation, nothing is getting built. I want you to think of these 3 tanks as fuels for your internal clock. Gentle movement, like I said, like walking or strength training, signals your body to power down later. Mental stimulation, like prayer, good conversation, or reading our Bible, helps to complete the stress cycle. And those consistent meals, especially with protein and slow digesting carbs like sweet potatoes, whole grains, they help your body to feel safe enough to rest. And these tanks help you wind down, restore, even in the middle of chaos. So this week, try adding a short walk outside. Maybe 5 minutes of breath work or a protein-rich evening snack. Each one can be a small way of filling up those tanks and telling your body you are safe now, you can rest. Now, lastly, as I talk about this, I think there is a fear when we start to talk about eating more, we start to talk about building muscle. I want to address the fear of eating enough. I know how real it is, especially when your postpartum body feels foreign. You want to eat less, you want to weigh less, maybe you want to fit into your jeans again. I understand all of those desires, but can I just remind you that under-eating keeps you stuck in survival mode. It will stall your healing. It will mess with your hormones, and it can chip away at muscle tissue. Your body needs nourishment in this season, not restriction. And remind you, eating enough is not indulgent. It's an act of stewardship. This week, I want you to try this. Log one day of your meals without judgment, just to get curious. Identify how many calories are you taking in, and is it enough for your body to thrive? Then, chances are, if you're not eating enough protein, which anytime that I log to check in, I'm always short by maybe 10 to 15 to 20 grams. I want you to add in 20 grams of protein to your breakfast. Maybe it's eggs with toast and avocado. Maybe it's a collagen smoothie with almond butter and banana. I don't know what that is for you, but let that be your next step, your way of saying, God, I trust you with my healing and muscles. You've got the fuel to thrive. And as we close, I just want to remind you that you are not made to be burnt out, that motherhood does not have to be martyrdom for you. You were made to receive strength. You still have capacity to build strength. And on a timeline, for those of you who are wondering, how much muscle can I actually build realistically? For perspective, I encourage my clients that they are right on track if they are gaining 0.5 pound to 1 pound of muscle per month. That is a slow, sustainable way to build strength. Last but not least, I want to give you a closing encouragement. I want you to set an expectation for building muscle that is realistic. I think there's a lot of claims out there. There's a lot of postpartum training programs that will say you're going to build muscle super fast, you're going to lose weight super fast. I just want you to remember, we just talked about how important sleep is for muscle protein synthesis, or the process for building muscle. Know that in this season, if you don't build muscle quickly, you're not doing it wrong. You're still making progress. Please don't mistake slow progress for no progress when it comes to building muscle postpartum. I give my clients a recommendation or a goal to gain 0.5 pound to 1 pound of muscle a month. That's a pretty slow gain in some standards, but I really encourage moms to see those slow gains as good gains because they are sustainable, they're not going all in, and they can do it for the long haul. So even 5.5 grams or 0.5 pound per month will slowly add up, and it allows their body to adapt in a kind and compassionate way. So there you have it. Is it possible to build muscle on slow or on small levels of sleep? Yes, absolutely. I believe it to be true. And hopefully by listening to this podcast today, you've gained a couple strategies and tips that can help you to do just that. As always, if this podcast episode resonated with you, you took away something, you learned from it, please share it with a friend so that they can learn too. Thanks, friend, for listening. Stay strong. All the love, Coach Laura.